So I did a 9 to 5 job for many years, and then I woke up. And during this period, I used the streets as a transition space between my home and my office. Now, an interesting social observation I made in those days was that people were very disconnected from the streets. There was nothing interesting for them to pay attention to. I don't blame them. And what I noticed at that time was that we need to interest people in the streets. There has to be something for them, something grabbing for them to pay attention to. So for the longest time, I thought about how I could do this. A friend and I came up with the concept of the open gallery. The idea was to then use an evolving canvas, which is basically a wall, to get people to interact with this wall on a daily basis and also be a part of the creation process. Exhibit A, this is the wall we used, and this is a wall in my hometown city of Mumbai. The wall is frequented by kids, teachers, hipsters, old grumpy men, and also by aunties and uncles. So we started painting this wall early in the morning, and people were very curious about what we were doing. They asked us all kinds of questions, like, are we artists? Or is this an ad? Are we getting paid for this? But this is fun, this is good, because people are interested in the wall. So right from scraping the moss off the walls to actually painting this mural, we found ourselves connecting with the community around the wall, which is a great thing. Aunties were inviting us for chai and samosa. Kids were cloning our drawings in their own sketchbooks. One thing I realized was that street art can make people realize that art is also an important part of the society. And also, the gallery can be taken to the people. So, street art is still a very new concept in India. A lot of people are very surprised when they see me painting on the streets and not making any money from it. But for me, really, street art is not about making money. It's about giving back to the society. It's about changing people's perception. And that is very important for me. So last year, I painted in a small community in Bandra, which is in Mumbai. And this place is called Collage Collective, actually. So I spent the day painting with the kids there and also interacting with them a little bit. The next day, a friend of mine calls me and asked me if I could do a workshop with these kids. And I was like, okay. So I went there and I met up with these kids who were incredibly talented. I gave them a few tips on how to paint a wall, and within 2 hours, they did their first mural. I mean, you have to see my first mural to know how talented these kids really are. I mean, look at that, it's so awesome. So street art can not only beautify our streets, but also give attention to the more neglected parts of the city. The Pune Street Art Project is a great example of this. A month-long festival saw street artists from all around the world paint murals at Kasba Pet. Now, this small town dates back to the 5th century, which is pretty much the oldest inhabited part of Pune, but it is also one of the most ignored part of the city. So with the help of all these artists, we changed the way people look at Kasba. At the end of the festival, there was a map that was created. So people can not only go and see the murals that we painted, but can also have interest in this beautiful heritage town. Kasba is now a living, breathing, open gallery. So street art is not only about massive walls or larger-than-life artworks. My next project, the Little Red Door project, is a good example of this. Inspired by the book Alice in Wonderland, I make small doors out of clay and epoxy, paint them, and then stick them in streets. The way people interact with these doors is very different to how they would interact with a big mural. 1 minute, you're walking down the street, the next minute, you're inside the little red door where pretty much anything is possible. So really, less is more here. So even today, when I head out into the streets with my paint, my brushes, my rollers, and an untold story, I am extremely scared of the streets for some reason. My heart is pounding, but that's a good thing, because for me, it's all about connecting with the people. And every time I get a question about why I'm doing this if there's no money involved, I simply smile and I say, so that you don't have to go to a gallery here. Thank you.